Bullseye.
What's up, you guys? OperationGamer here, coming back with another story time today. And today's story, it's a little bit more of a serious one in my opinion. And I'm just gonna start off the video by saying this. First of all, just know that no one's perfect. People make mistakes. People do shitty things, and it's not always, no one's perfect. No YouTuber's perfect. No celebrity is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. But the second note that I kind of want to make at the beginning of this video is it doesn't really matter how much you care about someone. You gotta respect a relationship. Like, you don't want to be that shitty person who helps someone cheat. And that's kind of what this story is about today, about a time that I helped someone cheat, and it was probably one of the most shitty experiences I think I've ever had to deal with, and it made me feel like a total asshole, even though I really didn't know the guy. But at the same time, it really doesn't matter. I don't care if the guy is your best friend or if he's a total dickwad who you think you should just punch him straight in the jaw. The point is, respect relationships. If they have, even if you really don't like the relationship together, like one that I'm kind of dealing with right now, you gotta respect a relationship, and if it's one of your friends, you gotta support them. But anyway, but another moral of the story is don't cheat and don't help anyone cheat. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys a story about how I helped someone cheat, and it made me feel like a shitty person because it wasn't technically. I wouldn't say it's 100% her fault because I technically gave into the temptations. But anyway, another moral of the story is don't let things get this far. But anyway, I'm gonna stop plugging shit in, and I'm gonna get right into the story. So this story takes place back in senior year. This was around the time where I was kind of going through stuff with my feelings, how I was feeling about this certain person, and she is one of my exes. Just want to make that clear. And you know, this was not fun. We basically had this time where we kissed once, or I kissed her, and then I basically said I didn't really want to be in a relationship with her because I was freaking out and I was scared. I really didn't know if I really wanted to be with her. It was really screwed up, really fucked up situation. But anyway, and for the respect of of her privacy and safety, I'm not going to mention her name in this video. I'm not even gonna give a name because I really don't feel the need to. But uh, so we kind of had a rough patch after we kissed for the first time, and then there was this whole thing where we kissed again and again, and then things just got more complicated. And there are points in that time where I regretted some stuff that I said, and we stopped talking for a little bit. And like I said, it was just a really big screwed up situation that I don't know if I should really get into. But anyway, let's kind of continue on with the story. So we stopped talking for a couple months, and fast forward, and I think it was around March. The whole thing started around like December or so. But anyway, around March, I went on her Facebook and I saw this post saying, basically it was directed at me. Like, she didn't say it was about me, but it was directed at me, saying just like how much she misses me, but like now I don't care and things like that. And in all honesty, it kind of pissed me off a bit because basically she was using her social media as a weapon, and it just wasn't right. So I did kind of a mature thing, and I decided to go on Facebook and write my own post, completely neutral, but basically hoping that she would see it and maybe respond to it, and maybe we could actually talk. Basically, I just said how if you got a problem with me, don't be afraid to talk to me. I'm always willing to talk. Like, I'm not gonna criticize you if you just want to talk about things. Like, I'll let you talk. Don't use social media as a weapon. It was complete bullshit, and all that kind of stuff. So the post actually worked, And 30 minutes later, I got a text from her, or a message from her, asking if I hated her, and I told her no, I don't hate you. We just had a rough patch, and we talked things out, and that was the thing between me and her. Like, anytime we actually had a rough patch, because we had a lot of rough patches, and we stopped talking to each other for like weeks at a time, and then we would start talking again and become friends again, and then everything would be good, but then we'd have another rough patch. Like, it, all in all, it's been an interesting friendship. So, continuing the story. So we talked things out, and this is the point where she actually had a boyfriend. And so, yeah, she had a boyfriend. She told me about him. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I really don't have to worry about him. Uh, because apparently she had a crush on me at the time, and I really didn't know if I wanted to be with her. And it was just like this whole screwed up situation that I had no idea that I wanted to deal with. So So she told me she had a boyfriend, and I was just like, okay, cool. That leaves me off the hook. I should be good. So we can just continue on with our lives, and we can just stay friends. So I was having this Cards Against Humanity night, and uh, she came. I invited her, and I invited a lot of other people, and we were helping like set up tables and like all this other kind of stuff. And once everything else was set up, she asked if her boyfriend could come. I'm just like, yeah, you know what? Sure, why not? So came over, really nice guy, might I add. And we're actually friends to this day. But he even knows about this incident. But anyway, in the whole night, she was sitting on his lap, and there was just, they were doing all this flirty crap, and I'm just like, I wasn't feeling good inside. I had no idea what was going on with me. And I just remember when I was driving everyone home, they were the last two to drop off, and they were making out in the back, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is really uncomfortable. I really don't like this." And I had no idea what was going on, and she could tell something was wrong with me. And she's the kind of friend that if something's wrong, she will not stop until she figures out what is wrong. Until she eventually gives up once you give her enough BS. But still, well, good friend. There was just, I don't know. It's just the whole friendship was really complicated. Um, Anyway, so I dropped him off. She was trying to figure out what was wrong, and I told her not to worry about it and just keep going. So, next day rolls around. I'm hanging out with Jesse, actually, Deathbringer 218, if you guys remember him. Uh, and we were hanging out at the mall, and I was texting her. And I kind of had this short little realization that I actually did have feelings for her. Like, it took me months to figure those out, because like I never really knew how I really felt. And looking back on it now, I guess I really did have feelings. I just didn't really want to admit it. But so I was texting her, and we were kind of talking about that night and like what happened and things like that. And I said, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna put it on the table. And I said, I know this isn't really gonna matter, but honestly, I feel like I finally figured out how I felt. I guess I really do have feelings for you. And then she said back, she's like, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I still have feelings for you too. And I'm just like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be saying this, but sorry, kind of dying over here. But anyway, so that happened, and she we just kind of were talking a little bit more, and I felt more uncomfortable knowing that she probably still had feelings for me while she had a boyfriend. And also, might I add that when we did become friends, we did become friends on Snapchat again. I was walking around the mall, and just by myself, just to kind of think about stuff, and I was snapping her, and she would always send snaps of her and her boyfriend, and I'd just get more uncomfortable, and I'm just like, oh, perfect. Anyway, that's off track. Back to the main story. So eventually, Jesse and I get tired of the mall, so we start heading home. And apparently, there was this whole talk going on between, I think it was between my grandmother, my uncle, or my mom and my uncle. I don't remember, but it was this big scene. So Jesse and I hung out downstairs or upstairs. I don't completely remember, but we were just hanging out, and we were getting kind of bored. And Jesse had the bright idea of inviting her just to come hang out with us. I'm like, yeah, sure. You know what? That's a good idea. So we text her, and she said, yeah, sure, why not? And so we drive down and we get her, and now was the point in time where the whole talk was going down. So we all hung out in the basement. That's where it was. So anyway, we were hanging out downstairs and we were just, we were just all just chilling. And I'll be honest, we were flirting. We were flirting hardcore. And there was just a lot of temptations thrown around. And I don't want to say anything bad about her to throw, because I don't want to throw her under the bus. I don't want to throw anyone else under the bus. Like, it was just bad. And things just got worse. And eventually it ended up to where we migrated upstairs, all three of us. And we started watching TV in the living room. And she sat down right next to me in the very same spot that we kissed for the first time. And she sat right next to me. And I didn't know how I felt about it because she had a boyfriend and I was feeling kind of uncomfortable. But knowing me and how I wanted it to happen, I just let it all go. I just didn't care. So we were watching the movie, and no, it wasn't a movie. It was just like just a bunch of TV shows. And eventually, it got to the point where we started poking each other like we usually did when we were like flirting and stuff. And it happened like before we kissed, before we kissed the first time. I mean, and so I'm sitting there, and she's poking my nose and stuff, and I'm doing it back because I'm kind of an idiot, and I let temptations get to me. And eventually got to the point where our faces got close together, and technically the whole thing was kind of, no, I shouldn't say the whole thing was my fault, because she wasn't stopping me. She kind of was starting a lot of it, kind of giving me temptation hints and stuff like that. And it got to the point where our faces got really close, and I kissed her. And while I was doing it, I didn't care. Like, I had no emotions about it. I didn't care. It's like, because I was just with her. And afterwards, I felt really shitty about it because I just realized what I did. I helped her cheat. She didn't stop me. She never told me to get off. She never told me to stop. And I just kept going because I'm an idiot. And not knowing that actually Jesse snuck out before all this was happening, and I had no idea where he went to this day. But when eventually we stopped, like an hour had gone past. No, I shouldn't say an hour, but like it was a good 20 or 30 minutes. My bad. But eventually, my mom was calling down in the hallway, and I freaked out, and we both like separated quick. And eventually got to the point where I had to go home soon, and my mom asked me to come in and talk to her. So I walked in, and she's like, "Were you just making out with her?" And I lied to her. I said no. Eventually, later down the line, I said, "Yeah, I was. I helped her cheat, and I feel crappy about it." And she was kind of giving me crap. She's like, "Dude, she was sitting on a guy's lap last night. Like, don't do that kind of crap." I'm just like, "Yeah, I know. I'm sorry." But I drove her home. Really didn't know what to talk. We really didn't know what to say to each other because there was just a lot of awkward tension. There was weird things that were felt between us, especially since we had feelings for each other and we really didn't know how to deal with it. So we really just said nothing. Then eventually later on, there was just a lot that happened. Like, she made a post saying how much she loved her boyfriend and things like that, which made me feel shitty. There were points, and there was just a lot of things, and like me knowing that I just kissed her and that I loved her, it loved her. I don't even know what to explain it like that anymore. But she broke up with him because she couldn't take the tension. But I would just like to let you guys know that that wasn't the only time we kissed while those two were dating. Like, I gave her rides to school and we made out before school. And just looking back on it now, it really makes me feel shitty to know. And eventually she did tell him that it happened and that she couldn't take the pressure, and she broke up with him. And I feel like I ruined a relationship. But I guess somewhat of a silver lining is eventually we went to prom together, and like there was just all this other kind of stuff that went down. But the funny thing is, the funny thing that I found out about this whole story is me and the guy, we're still friends to this day. I still feel like total crap. I even asked him, I was like, "Dude, why are you still friends with me if you know that I helped someone cheat on you?" He's like, dude, honestly, it doesn't matter. Dude, he was such a nice guy. And like, shout out to him. He was really cool. I mean, I still feel like shit for doing it to you, but it it was still he was still freaking cool, and I really appreciate him and shout out to him. But yeah, that's basically the story, guys. Just to kind of wrap this video up, I'm probably gonna leave this unedited just to kind of keep the serious tension for this video and this story time. But the moral of the story is, guys, A, don't cheat. Like, cheating is a terrible thing. B, I don't care how much you like the person. If they're in a relationship, you fucking respect that. I'm currently going through a couple things right now where I like a couple girls that are in relationships, and that's tough on me, but I respect the sanctity of their relationship, and I'm not going to get in the middle of that. And if something happens and they break up, then I'll be there to support. And honestly, I'm not gonna swoop in for the catch because that's kind of fucking stupid. Because like, there's always a bro code. There's always a time limit before you ask another girl out, and you need to ask permission and stuff. But um, yeah, don't help someone cheat. It's a shitty feeling. Just take things from me and see. Remember, no one is perfect. No one has a perfect life. Everyone's done shit that they regret. I've done a lot that I've regretted. Some being more than others, but that's basically the end of the story, guys. But thank you guys for watching this incredibly long story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And just remember, don't fucking do the shit that I did. It was a terrible feeling, and I don't want you guys to go through the same thing. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching or listening or whatever the fuck. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.
Bullseye.